Like I said, this is an actual exam that I gave my summer Math 70 course. Your exam is going to be very, very similar to this. Probably the only difference is going to be the number of numbers. One thing on the exam, you're going to have 2.5 hours to do the exam, and it's timed. So from the moment you start the exam, you have 2.5 hours to start it. You can take it any of the next 3 days. So it's the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th that it will be open. But you will only have 2.5 hours to take the exam. So choose wisely when you decide to take the exam so that you can get through it. Okay? Another thing with the exam that's important is that you will have a second opportunity to take it. So let's say that you got 8 out of 10 right? You can do a quick retake on it, and it will only make you do the 2 that you got wrong, so you still have an opportunity to get 100% on the exam. I have all my exams set up that way. Even the final will be that way for you guys. Okay? So there's a lot of opportunity for you to do well, and I'm hoping you guys do really well on this thing. All right. So let me go through this. This is number 1, and so number 1 is saying, it says for each equation, choose the statement that describes its situation. If applicable, give a solution. So for this first example, right here, I'm going to solve this out, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute, and then I'll collect like terms. So I'm going to get 4v plus 4 plus v is equal to 3v minus 6 plus 2. Do you guys agree with that? With the distribution that's happened there?
Yes.
Okay. Then from there, I'm going to collect like terms. So I'm going to get 5v plus 4 is equal to 3v minus 4. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the v's together, and I want to show this in a different color. So I'm going to subtract 3v from here. So I'm going to subtract 3v from there. And that's going to give me 2v plus 4 is equal to a negative 4. Then I'm going to subtract 4 from here, so I'll subtract 4 from there. And I'm going to get 2v is equal to a negative 8. From here, I have to divide, right? So when I divide, I'm going to get v is equal to a negative 8 divided by 2, which tells me that v is equal to a negative 4. So this is a solution. So it's going to be this guy right here. I'm going to bubble that in, and I'm going to say it's negative 4 is the answer. Is that clear? Okay. The next example, I'm going to get 2x minus 6 minus 5x is equal to a negative 3x minus 9. Then from here, collecting like terms, I'm going to get a negative 3x minus 6 is equal to a negative 3x minus 9. And I'm going to add 3x to this side. So I've got to add 3x to that side. And what we notice is I end up getting negative 6 is equal to a negative 9. Well, when is that true? It's never true, and so this has no solution at all. Does that make sense? Now, if it would have been all solutions, that's when you would have gotten negative 6 is equal to negative 6, or you would have gotten something like x is equal to x. That's when you get the all real solutions. Does that make sense? Okay. So this is exactly what the first problem on the exam is going to look like. It should be something that is very manageable for you. Okay? And feel free to speak if you have a question or anything at all about anything you're unsure about. It makes it better in explaining the problems, right? Because I'm going to make assumptions that you understand something that you might not. So please speak up, okay? I actually appreciate it. It makes it a little bit more fun for me. Okay, so the next problem, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to go 9y minus 28 is greater than or equal to, and then I'm going to distribute. So I'm going to get a negative 10 plus 15y. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 9y from both sides. So I'll get a negative 28 is greater than or equal to a negative 10 plus 6y. Now I need to add 10 to both sides, right, to get the like terms together. And so I'm going to get a negative 18 is greater than or equal to 6y. I have to divide by 6. It's positive, so the inequality won't flip. And so I'm going to get negative 3 is greater than or equal to y. And this is my solution. Any questions on this one? Pretty straightforward. All right, good. Hopefully you guys can really kick butt on this exam. It'd be really good. May I go on to number 3 then? Okay. So then from number 3, ooh, this problem is crazy. It's got a bunch of fractions in it, right? I'm even going to make this a fraction by going 7 over 1. And to make my life easy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply everything by 6. Okay? And the reason I multiply everything by 6 is because 2, 2, 3, and 1, their least common multiple is 6, correct? So when I do that, I'm gonna rewrite it just so you guys can see it with some space. So I'm going to multiply by 6, multiply by 6, multiply by 6. Everything is being multiplied by 6, right? So I'm going to show you something. 6 divided by 2 is what? Isn't that 3?
3.
That's 3, right? And 3 times a negative 5 will give us a negative 15x. Then what's 6 divided by 2? It's 3 again. What's 3 times 3? That gives us the 9. Then here it's 6 divided by 3. So that's going to give us a 2, right? And 2 times a negative 2 is going to give us a negative 4x. And then obviously 6 divided by 1 is still 6. Times 7 is going to give us a negative 42. Are we okay with what I've done to this point? Any questions at all? No? Okay. So then from here, I have to decide how I want to deal with it. Do I want to deal with positives or do I want to deal with negatives? I'm just going to keep the variable on the left this time. So since I'm going to do that, I'm going to add 4x to both sides. And what's going to happen is I'm going to get a negative 11x plus 9 is equal to a negative 42. Now I have to subtract 9 from both sides, correct? And that's going to give me a negative 11x is equal to a negative 51. And so x is equal to a negative 51 divided by a negative 11. But that is x is equal to 51 over 11. That is my answer. You okay?
I have a question.
Please.
Does it matter which side you do your minus or subtraction with the variable? Does it matter if you start left or right?
It doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I usually like to keep my variable on the left. I'm kind of weird that way. Aaron can attest to it. He was in my summer class. I typically try to be very methodical about what I do. And so when I'm doing that, I just try to be consistent. But
what was the question, Professor?
Oh, I just said that I'm very methodical when I do things. So I tend to follow the same pattern every time.
Professor, is this review being recorded like you normally do?
Yes, it's being recorded.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I'll post it up tonight so you guys can see it.
Okay.
If you missed anything, and you can re-watch it. And like I said, the exam is open till the 11th.
And who asked the question, if you don't mind me asking?
Just now?
Yes.
Who was that?
Is it?
Jancy.
Yancy.
Oh, hi,
Yeah.
Jancy.
Hi.
This is Aaron. Sorry, I came in a little late, but just a recommendation. Professor is great. These reviews are extremely helpful, meaning if you're able to do these review problems, you're going to have zero problems on the test. So really focus. Professor is very, very supportive. He doesn't throw us any surprises. So if you understand how to do every single question on the review, you're going to get an A on the test.
Oh, perfect. Good to know. Thank you.
I try to be super methodical about what I do as a review, so it's beneficial. So if you guys do practice this exam that I'm giving you, the exam should be extremely easy.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. Just one last question, Professor.
Yes.
I know I only capitalized on that opportunity only one time in the summer. Are you also doing does the program allow for the retakes, for the second retake, or it's
yes.
not allowing it?
Yeah, I do that every semester. So, and I said it earlier, but for those of you who came in just now, you take the exam one time all the way through, and let's say there's 10 questions on the exam and you got 2 wrong, you can retake the 2 that you got wrong to still try to get 100%. So you get 2 shots at the ones you get wrong.
Yes, I should have. I know you reminded us in the summer, and I should have taken advantage of that because I just assumed if I got over 90%, I had no idea that they only had you retake the ones you missed.
Yeah, it's a quick retake. It's just like the practice exam. So do it.
Yes.
You only have to do the ones you get wrong. Okay. So, Yancy, does this make sense? Oh, go ahead.
Professor, I'm going to check out. I got to do my knowledge check. I just wanted to check in with you and see if I could be of any help.
No, I appreciate it. All right, cool. I'll have it posted tonight.
Okay. See you guys.
All right,
Good
take
luck.
care. Yancy, so I could have right here, instead of adding 4, I could have added 15 to both sides.
Got it. Okay.
And that would have worked. Do you want me to actually show it?
No, that's okay. It's fine. Thank you.
I don't mind. I want you guys to feel as comfortable as possible. So it's so dark in my office at night. Jeez. I don't know why. Whatever. It's like a spooky spot. I need better lighting or something. Okay. So let's go on to the next one. This is number 4 here, and it's asking us to solve for a variable. And so typically what happens here is people get really confused with variables, but it's actually quite easy. If they aren't the same variable, can you add them together? What do you guys think?
No.
The answer is no. So what I want to do, I want to get m, right? This is what I'm going after. So the very first thing is I want to get rid of the n first. So to get rid of the n, I have to subtract it from both sides, correct? So I'm going to end up with this. Does that make sense? So I subtracted n from here, so I had to subtract n from here to get that step that I just got.
So same question again. I feel like I have trouble with knowing where to start. That's my problem. So does it matter?
So in this problem it does, because I'm trying to solve for m. So the whole goal is to get that highlighted m by itself. And order of operations, right? It's please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Here you do it backwards. So what's happening here, since I'm trying to break it down, I'm going to get rid of the addition piece before I get rid of the multiplication piece. So that's why I subtracted by n first. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, it does.
Then the next step is going to be to get rid of the 4. Well, how do I get rid of the 4?
Divide.
I have to divide, right? Because it's a product, so I have to divide by 4. to both sides. And so my answer ends up being d minus n over 4 is equal to n. And that would be my solution. So if it would have been like, let's say it would have been 4m minus n, I would have had to add n to both sides. Does that make sense, Yancy?
Yes.
So you're going to either add or subtract before you multiply or divide.
And that's always the rule, add or subtract before?
Yeah, so that's how you do when
Okay.
you're trying to solve for a variable. When there's variables,
Okay.
that's what confuses a lot of people, because instead of doing
Yes.
order of operations, you're doing it backwards.
Got it.
Okay? Okay. Hopefully that helps. All right, this next problem, now it's sets, right? So it's telling me x is less than or equal to 2, and for f, and then for h, x is greater than or equal to 9. So I'm going to do 2 graphs for you, okay? So here's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. Okay, for this first one, it's less than or equal to. So less than or equal to is a filled in circle, correct? It's a filled in circle. And then it tells me to shade going to the, I'm going to shade this way, right? Does that make sense? So it's filled in, and it's going to shade going to the left. Now, the other one, I can draw another arrow, just so you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, is it a filled-in circle or an open circle at 9? It's open here, and then I'm going to shade going to the right. Now, does everyone understand how to know which way to shade? Is there anyone that's unsure? Feel free to speak. You guys are okay? All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to find f. This symbol means intersect, right? So where are they both shading is what this one is saying. So where are they both shading? Is there anywhere where they're both shading? No. And since there's not, we call that the empty set or the null set. Have you guys seen that symbol? Okay. And then this one is union, meaning it's shaded by one or it's shaded by the other. And in this one, when we write it in set builder notation, it's shading from negative infinity, right? Because it's going all the way to negative infinity, to 2, but 2 is included, so we put a bracket, right? Union, 9, not included, so we put a parentheses, all the way to positive infinity. And this is the solution to number 5. But the way I do it is I look at the picture so that I can see where they both shade. So intersection is where they both shade. The union, is where one shades or the other shades. Is that clear? Okay. All right. So in this next problem, it's asking for a compound, and since it's saying and, it's asking where they both shade. Okay, where they both shade. So I'm going to have 3w plus 4 is greater than 13, and 4w plus 5 is greater than or equal to a negative 7. Well, I'm going to get w is greater than or equal to 9, so w is greater than or equal to 3. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, and then the other one's going to be 4w is greater than or equal to a negative 12 because I subtracted the 5. And then W is going to be greater than or equal to a negative 3. So when I go to shade both of these, here's negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. At 3, it's an open circle, and it's going to shade this way. At negative 3, it's a closed circle, and it's also going to shade this way. Agreed? You guys agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so now the question is, and. The word and is a big deal. And here means where are they both shading, meaning not just one, but both of them are shading. So where are they both shading?
At 3?
From 3 beyond, right? From beyond 3 is where that's happening. So since that's where it's happening, I'm going to go 3 to infinity. Do I include 3 or do I exclude 3? It's going to be an exclusion because not both are being shaded, correct? And so this is the answer to this one. We okay? All right, cool. All right, may I go on to number 7, or is there any questions on this one?
Actually, what's the difference between and or? Because I know I've had some that say or.
Yeah, so or means where one or the other shades. That's the way you want to think of it.
Okay.
And is where one and the other shade. So this isn't an and, this is only where both shaded. In this example, the or statement was this one. This would have been or.
I see. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, let me go ahead and do the next one then, if you guys are okay. So before we attack this problem, I want to get the absolute value by itself. So I'm going to go absolute value of 4u plus 4 is equal to 40. Does everyone understand how I got the 40? Right? I added 53 to both sides. And now that I have that absolute value, I got to do a trick. And here's the trick. There's going to be 2 possible solutions. I'm going to have 4u plus 40 is equal to 40, or 4u plus 4 is equal to negative 40. So it's going to be the positive case or the negative case. You guys with me? So then I'm going to get 4u is equal to 36. So u is equal to what?
Is it 9?
It's 9. Perfect. Okay, on the other one, I'm going to get 4u is equal to a negative 44. So u is equal to? Negative 11. Okay, something important you should always do with these problems is check them to make sure that they are correct. So the way I check is I typically plug it in. So what is 4 times 9? 36 plus 4, that's 40, right? What's 40 minus 53? If you have $40, but you want to buy something that's $53, how much money do you need?
13.
You need 13, so that's exactly what it is. So I know this is for sure an answer. Now let's check the other one. What's negative 4 times, what's 4 times a negative 11? Negative 44. Plus 4? Isn't that a negative 40?
Mm-hmm.
An absolute value of negative 40 becomes positive 40. So we end up with the exact same answer again. So we know this is also a solution. Are we okay with that? Are you okay with that, Yancy? Just trying to make sure.
Yes, good.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's go on to graphing. And this is really, really cool. So since we have it broken up, I'm going to write it as w plus 5 is less than or equal to 4. That's the same, right? And w plus 5, I'm going to flip the inequality and change it to a negative. So notice that on the second case, I flip the inequality, right? And then change the number to negative. Does that make sense? So then here what I'm going to end up with is w is less than or equal to negative 1, right? Less than or equal to negative 1, so that's going to be filled in, and I'm going to go this way with it, right?
Right.
Over here, I'm going to get w is greater than or equal to a negative 9, agreed? So here's negative 9, and which way am I going to shade?
The right side, going right.
Perfect, to the right. Where are they both going to be shading? Right in the middle there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the answer here ends up being this piece since they want it shaded. Now, one of the things I just want to show you is if they wanted it in interval notation, it would have gone from negative 9 to negative 1, and it would have been brackets because brackets include the endpoints, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just so you have the interval notation for that. How are you guys feeling? You okay?
Yes.
Seems like an easier test than you thought it was going to be.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
I just hope I remember.
Well, just practice this, and like I said, I
Okay.
am going to send the recording to you guys so you guys can watch
Okay.
it over again. And you have till Friday to take the exam, but you only have 2.5 hours to take the exam. So
I work. Can I do like early in the morning? Is there like a time frame that I have to do it at?
So yeah, so I knowing that you guys have varying schedules, I made the test open from tomorrow till Friday,
Okay.
and it's open 24 hours,
Oh, perfect.
but you have
Okay.
2.5 hours to do it.
Okay.
So when you decide to do it, you got to be able to do it all, okay?
And it's 10 questions, or?
Yeah, this one's only going to be a 10-question test.
Oh, okay.
But here come the headaches. Are you ready?
Yes.
You know, I mean, I have to give you some headaches. I can't make it all
Oh.
gifts. So here we go. Word problem.
Oy, those are yeah.
There's 2 of them, so I'm going to do each of them. So the first one says, Ryan invested his savings into 2 investment funds. The $12,000 he invested in Fund A returned 5% profit. The amount that he invested in Fund B returned 2% profit. How much did he invest in Fund B if both funds together returned 4% profit? So here we go. Are you ready?
Yes.
This is the work for number 9. So it says he had $12,000, right?
Right.
That had a 5% return. Then in Fund B, we don't know how much money he put in it, but we do know that he made 2% on that money, correct?
Correct.
Altogether, so 12,000 plus X money returned 4%. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now we want to go see if we can find out what X is. And we can. We're going to change the percentages to actual decimals. So percent is 0.05, right?
Right.
5% is 0.05. This next one is going to become 0.02x. When we multiply this, I'm going to get 12,000 plus x times 0.04. And so this is going to be 600 plus 0.02x is equal to 480 plus 0.04x. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
You'll be able to use a calculator with this also.
Okay.
But so there'll be calculator access for you. But these are what the numbers come out to be. Now, since you're concerned about which one I move, which x do you want me to move? The one on the left or the one on the right?
More towards the left.
Moving the one on the left? Or
Yeah,
moving
starting
to
with
the
the one on
left?
the left. I tend to start on the left side.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll move this one over. And I have to subtract because it was a positive. And so I'm going to get 600 is equal to 480 plus 0.02x, right?
Right.
Now, since you wanted to keep the variable on that side, I'm going to subtract 480 from here. So I'll subtract 480 from here. And I'm going to get 120 is equal to 0.02x. So x is equal to 120 divided by 0.02. And that tells me that the amount in Fund B was $6,000.
Okay.
Does the process make sense?
Yes, it
Okay.
does.
And since I record this thing, you guys can pause it and rewind it, and pause it and rewind it
Right.
as you
Slow
need.
motion.
So, and I'm going to do this for every exam that we have.
Okay.
Okay, so for every exam that we have, you should feel really ready for the exam because I'm going to basically help you go through it. Okay?
Okay.
All right, let's do this last problem. And then I can answer any questions you guys might have. And if not, I can just stop recording and we can go from there. Okay, so it says 2 trains leave the station at the same time, one heading west and one heading east. The westbound train travels 75 miles per hour. The eastbound train travels 65 miles per hour. How long will it take for the 2 trains to be 364 miles apart? Okay, so here is the train station. I always draw my little pictures. One train's going this way, right? At 75 miles per hour, right? It's going west.
Right.
Yeah, and the eastbound train is going this way at 65 miles per hour, right?
Right.
Okay. And we want to find out how long till the 2 trains are 364 miles apart.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Well, check this out. We don't even need to do a bunch of fancy math. We could, but we don't even need to do fancy math. Every hour, how far are the trains going apart? Aren't they?
65 miles or 75?
Oh, it's the sum of the 2. Actually, think about
Right.
it. So after 1 hour, this train is now 75 miles from the train station, right?
Right.
And this one's 65 miles away from the train station. So 75 plus 65 is 140.
Mm-hmm.
So every hour, they're getting 140 miles further away from each other. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm going to treat this as a distance rate. Distance equals rate times time. So this distance times the number of time, the time, I'm going to say is 75 times t, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, and I'm saying plus because the 65 on the other side is making it further apart too. 65t is going to equal the total distance I want them apart.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So then the 2 trains after 1 hour are 140 miles apart, but we want to know when they're 364 miles apart. So what do I need to do with the 140?
You divide it?
Divide, exactly. So I'm going to go 364 divided by 140. So the time is going to be 2.6 hours is how long it's going
Okay.
to take for them to be 364
Got
miles
it.
apart. But do you see how it's methodical? And the thing that helped me
Mhm.
figure it out was drawing pictures,
Right.
right? Because if I would have
Yeah.
done this and gone, okay, hold on, what's 2 hours? So 2 hours represents this. That's another 65. That's another 75.
Mhm.
And you can see that's 150 on one side and 130 on the other. So that's 280. And then if I would have done it again, that would have been too big a number, so I know it's under
Right.
3 hours.
I see.
Do you see it?
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll even post up these notes for you guys to look at, and you can see here are the solutions actually. So you can see that I did it right.
Mhm.
You know, never trust your professor.
Okay.
How does this make you guys feel?
Better.
Confident.
More confident.
You're more confident?
Definitely.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'll stop recording this just so I can have it, and then
Okay.
I can answer any questions you might have, okay?
Okay.
So hold on one second.
I